curious which famous lunches have completely faded into history. Some of these meals were once packed into millions of lunchboxes, served in school cafeterias, and ordered in diners across America. Today, most have nearly vanished. Let's start with a lunch that was once considered one of the most satisfying meals money could buy. The hot brown was basically a turkey sandwich turned into a full-blown feast. Created at Louisville's Brown Hotel during the 1920s, this open-faced lunch piled slices of roasted turkey onto thick toast before smothering everything in a creamy cheese sauce and topping it with bacon and tomatoes. It was originally designed for hungry hotel guests looking for something more exciting than ham sandwiches after long nights of dancing. The rich flavors quickly became a sensation. Before long, restaurants across the South were serving their own versions. People loved how filling it was and how every bite combined smoky, creamy, and savory flavors. But as Americans began choosing lighter lunches and quicker meals, the hot brown slowly disappeared from everyday menus. While it still survives in Kentucky, most younger Americans have never tasted one. Another lunch that once seemed impossible to escape was chopped ham salad sandwiches. During the 1940s and 1950s, nearly every grocery store deli had some on hand. Leftover ham would be finely chopped and mixed with mayonnaise, mustard, relish, and seasonings before being spread generously onto soft bread. It was affordable, filling, and easy to make in large batches. Families loved it because it stretched ingredients further during times when wasting food wasn't an option. Church picnics, school lunches, and family gatherings often featured these sandwiches. The best part was that every household had its own secret recipe. Some added onions, while others mixed in hard-boiled eggs or celery. But as fresh deli meats became cheaper and consumers started avoiding heavily processed foods, chopped ham salad slowly faded away. Today, it's mostly remembered by grandparents who grew up eating it after school. Few lunches were more comforting than creamed turkey on toast. This simple meal became a household favorite because it transformed leftovers into something completely new. Chunks of turkey were mixed into a thick, creamy sauce and poured over crispy slices of toast. During the middle of the 20th century, it was everywhere. School cafeterias served it, diners served it, families made it regularly after Thanksgiving. It was warm, filling, and perfect for feeding hungry mouths without spending much money. Advertisements often promoted it as a smart way to avoid wasting food. Yet, as lunch habits changed, dishes built around cream sauces began losing popularity. Modern diners started leaning toward sandwiches, salads, and wraps instead. As a result, creamed turkey on toast quietly disappeared from most menus. Now, here's one that sounds almost too simple to have been famous. The cheese dream was one of America's favorite lunch counter meals for decades. Think of it as a cousin to grilled cheese, but with a little extra personality. Bread was topped with cheese and often enhanced with tomatoes, bacon, or sliced ham before being broiled until bubbly and golden brown. Throughout the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, people ordered cheese dreams by the thousands every day. Office workers loved them because they were affordable and quick. Restaurant owners loved them because they were easy to prepare. Despite its popularity, the cheese dream eventually fell victim to changing trends. Fast food burgers, chicken sandwiches, and specialty subs began taking over lunch menus. The once famous cheese dream gradually became little more than a nostalgic memory. Speaking of simple lunches, few meals were as beloved by working-class Americans as the fried bologna sandwich. Thick slices of bologna were tossed into a hot skillet until the edges curled up like little bowls. They were then placed on bread with mustard, mayonnaise, onions, or cheese, depending on the cook. During the 1950s and 1960s, this lunch could be found everywhere from factory break rooms to family kitchens. It was cheap, satisfying, and surprisingly flavorful. Children often requested it after school, while adults packed it for work lunches. But as health concerns surrounding processed meats grew, bologna's reputation took a hit. Over time, fewer people were willing to make it a regular part of their diets. While some diners still proudly serve fried bologna sandwiches today, they're nowhere near as common as they once were. Believe it or not, sardine sandwiches were once considered perfectly normal lunchtime fare. During the first half of the 20th century, Canned sardines were praised as an affordable source of protein that could last for months on pantry shelves. People mixed them with mayonnaise, mustard, chopped onions, or lemon juice before spreading the mixture onto bread. During wartime, they became even more popular because fresh meat wasn't always available. Families appreciated how inexpensive and nutritious they were. However, as prosperity increased and grocery stores offered more choices, sardines slowly lost their appeal. Their strong flavor wasn't for everyone, and younger generations often preferred milder lunch meats instead. What was once a lunchbox staple eventually became a niche food enjoyed by only a small group of loyal fans, up eating it after school. Few lunches were more comforting than creamed turkey on toast. This simple meal became a household favorite because it transformed leftovers into something completely new. Chunks of turkey were mixed into a thick, creamy sauce and poured over crispy slices of toast. During the middle of the 20th century, it was everywhere. School cafeterias served it, diners served it. Another fascinating lunch born from hard times was the mock chicken sandwich. Despite its name, many versions contained absolutely no chicken. During the Great Depression and wartime rationing, resourceful home cooks learned how to mimic chicken salad using ingredients like eggs, crackers, mayonnaise, and seasoning. The result was surprisingly convincing. Newspapers regularly published recipes for it, and community cookbooks treated it as a practical household staple. Families appreciated being able to serve something that felt special without spending money on scarce meat. Once chicken became affordable again, though, the need for imitation versions quickly disappeared. As a result, the mock chicken sandwich faded into obscurity almost as quickly as it had risen to fame. If you stepped inside a roadside diner during the 1950s, chances are you'd spot a Western sandwich somewhere on the menu. This hearty lunch took the ingredients of a Western omelet, eggs, ham, onions, and green peppers, and stuffed them between slices of toast. It was popular with truck drivers, factory workers, and office employees looking for something filling that wouldn't cost much. Diners loved serving them because they could be prepared quickly during the busy lunch rush. For years, the Western sandwich was considered a reliable classic. But as sandwich trends evolved toward giant subs, wraps, and specialty creations, this humble favorite slowly lost its place in the spotlight. One lunch that absolutely dominated church gatherings and family dinners was tuna noodle casserole. At its core, it was a simple combination of canned tuna, egg noodles, cream of mushroom soup, and vegetables topped with something crunchy. But somehow those basic ingredients created a meal that millions of Americans adored. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, it became one of the most common lunches and dinners in the country. Home economists praised its affordability, while food companies promoted it heavily in advertisements. Nearly every family seemed to have its own version, yet as fresh ingredients became easier to obtain and taste shifted away from canned convenience foods, tuna noodle casserole gradually lost its status as a lunchroom superstar. And while all of those lunches were popular, the next forgotten meal became so fashionable during the 1950s that serving it at lunch made people feel downright sophisticated. Beef stroganoff was one of those lunches that made people feel like they were eating something fancy without spending a fortune. Originally inspired by Russian cuisine, the dish featured tender strips of beef cooked with mushrooms and onions in a rich, creamy sauce, usually served over noodles or rice. When it exploded in popularity during the 1950s and 1960s, it quickly became a favorite in homes, cafeterias, and restaurants across America. Part of its appeal came from its unique flavor. At a time when many American meals were fairly simple, beef stroganoff felt slightly exotic while still delivering plenty of comfort. Advertisements and cookbooks couldn't stop promoting it. Families proudly served it to guests, and leftovers often became the next day's lunch. But as taste shifted toward lighter foods and newer international cuisines entered the spotlight, beef stroganoff gradually slipped from its throne. Even so, one bite is enough to transport many people right back to their childhood kitchen. Another lunch that was once considered downright elegant was chicken a la king. Despite its fancy name, it was really a practical way to use leftover chicken. Tender pieces of chicken were combined with mushrooms, peppers, and pimentos in a creamy sauce before being served over toast, rice, or noodles. During the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, it seemed to appear everywhere. Housewives loved how easily it could feed a family, while restaurants appreciated its versatility. The creamy texture and colorful ingredients made it feel special, even though it relied on simple pantry staples. It became a regular feature at luncheons, family gatherings, and dinner parties. But as Americans began favoring quicker meals and lighter dishes, chicken a la king slowly fell out of fashion. Today, it's mostly remembered through old cookbooks and family recipes passed down through generations. Now let's talk about a lunch that divided opinions then just as much as it does now: liver and onions. For much of the 20th century, this dish was considered both nutritious and delicious. Slices of beef liver were cooked until tender and served alongside sweet caramelized onions. Doctors often encouraged people to eat liver because of its high iron content, and many parents believed it was one of the healthiest lunches possible. In regions with large meatpacking industries, liver was inexpensive and easy to find, making it a practical choice for working families. While some people genuinely loved its rich flavor, others dreaded seeing it on their plate. As newer generations gravitated toward milder tastes and less intense flavors, liver and onions gradually disappeared from lunch menus. Today, it's far less common than it once was, though loyal fans still swear by it. Few lunches were more refreshing than the Waldorf salad. First created at New York's famous Waldorf Astoria Hotel in the late 19th century, this simple dish combined apples, celery, walnuts, and a creamy dressing. It quickly became a symbol of sophistication and was frequently served at ladies' luncheons and social gatherings. People loved the contrast between the crisp apples, crunchy celery, and rich dressing. Over the years, cooks added grapes, chicken, and other ingredients, creating countless variations. For decades, the Waldorf salad was considered a classy lunch option that could impress guests without requiring much effort. But as new salad trends arrived, featuring international flavors and lighter dressings, the Waldorf slowly lost popularity. Even so, its influence can still be seen in many modern fruit and nut salads. Another lunch that once ruled potlucks and holiday gatherings was green bean casserole. Created in 1955, this dish combined green beans, cream of mushroom soup, and crispy fried onions into one comforting package. While many people now associate it with Thanksgiving, there was a time when it appeared regularly at lunchtime as well. Schools served it, churches served it, families served it throughout the year. It was inexpensive, easy to make, and required only a handful of ingredients. Advertisements helped fuel its popularity, turning it into one of America's most recognizable casseroles. However, as fresh vegetables became more popular and processed foods fell out of favor, green bean casseroles started appearing less frequently outside of holiday meals. Still, few dishes evoke nostalgia quite like that familiar onion crunch. Pineapple chicken was another lunch that captured America's imagination during the mid-20th century. At the time, anything that hinted at tropical flavors felt exciting and modern. This colorful dish combined chicken, pineapple chunks, bell peppers, and a sweet and tangy sauce. The result was a lunch that looked vibrant and tasted completely different from traditional meat and potatoes fare. Families loved serving it because it brought a sense of adventure to the table. Hawaiian-inspired foods were incredibly trendy during the 1950s and 60s, helping pineapple chicken become a nationwide favorite. But eventually, tastes shifted toward more authentic international cuisines and less sugary flavor combinations. As a result, pineapple chicken gradually disappeared from many lunch menus, though it still pops up occasionally at family gatherings. One lunch with a nickname almost everyone remembered was creamed chipped beef on toast. Military veterans often knew it by a far less polite nickname, but the dish itself was simple. Thin slices of dried beef were mixed into a creamy white sauce and spooned generously over toast. It became especially popular during wartime because it was inexpensive, filling, and easy to prepare in large quantities. After soldiers returned home, many continued eating it because it reminded them of their service days. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, it became a common lunch in homes and diners alike. However, as fresh ingredients became easier to obtain and people began avoiding salty processed foods, creamed chipped beef started fading from popularity. Today, it's mostly remembered by older generations who grew up with it. Pimento cheese may still exist in some parts of the South, but there was a time when it was one of America's most popular lunch spreads. Made from cheddar cheese, mayonnaise, and chopped pimentos, it was creamy, tangy, and incredibly versatile. People spread it on sandwiches, stuffed it into celery sticks, or served it with crackers. During the early and mid-20th century, pimento cheese was practically a staple in southern kitchens. Every family seemed to have its own recipe. Some added jalapenos, while others mixed in onions or spices. Although it never completely disappeared, the rise of gourmet cheeses and specialty spreads pushed it out of the national spotlight. Still, many Southerners consider it one of the greatest lunch foods ever created. And if you think pimento cheese was nostalgic, the next lunch became so popular during World War II that it eventually developed an almost legendary status in one particular state. Spam sandwiches became one of the most recognizable lunches in America during World War II. Introduced in 1937, Spam offered something many families desperately needed: affordable meat that could sit on a shelf for months. Slices of Spam were fried until crispy and served on bread with mustard, mayonnaise, or pickles. During the war, millions of soldiers ate it regularly, and many brought their appreciation for it back home afterward. In places like Hawaii, Spam became almost legendary, inspiring dishes that are still popular today. Families loved how versatile it was. It could be fried, baked, grilled, or served cold. During the 1950s and 60s, Spam sandwiches appeared in lunchboxes across the country. But as Americans became more concerned about sodium, preservatives, and processed foods, its popularity began to decline. While it still has loyal fans, the Spam sandwich is no longer the lunchbox giant it once was. Another colorful lunch that has nearly vanished is the pickled beet egg. These bright purple eggs were made by soaking hard-boiled eggs in beet juice, vinegar, sugar, and spices. The result was a striking snack or lunch item that looked almost too pretty to eat. They became especially popular in Pennsylvania Dutch communities and eventually spread to diners, potlucks, and family gatherings throughout the country. People loved the sweet and tangy flavor as well as the deep red color that developed during the pickling process. During holidays and special occasions, trays of pickled beet eggs often sat proudly on buffet tables. But as home pickling became less common and newer appetizers took center stage, these colorful eggs slowly disappeared from many households. Vienna sausages were another lunch staple that once seemed to be everywhere. These small canned sausages became popular because they were inexpensive, convenient, and had an incredibly long shelf life. During the post-war years, many families kept several cans in their pantry for quick lunches or snacks. Children often ate them straight from the can, while others paired them with crackers or bread. They could also be added to stews, casseroles, and simple meals. Their soft texture and mild flavor made them accessible to nearly everyone. However, as concerns about processed foods increased, Vienna sausages lost much of their appeal. Modern consumers began choosing fresher meats and less processed options. Today, they're still around, but they no longer enjoy the widespread popularity they once had. Deviled ham spread was another lunch that ruled American kitchens for decades. Finely ground ham was mixed with spices, mustard, and seasonings to create a savory spread that could be used on sandwiches or crackers. It became especially popular because it was portable, affordable, and easy to store. Busy families appreciated how quickly sandwiches could be assembled using deviled ham. During the early and middle parts of the 20th century, it became a common sight in lunchboxes and picnic baskets. The slightly spicy flavor gave it a personality that ordinary ham sandwiches sometimes lacked. But as deli meats became more widely available and people started preferring fresher ingredients, deviled ham gradually lost its place in American lunches. Now here's a lunch that truly lived up to its name. Tomato Surprise featured hollowed-out tomatoes filled with ingredients like tuna salad, chicken salad, rice, or egg salad. The surprise was discovering what filling waited inside. During the 1950s and 60s, hosts loved serving Tomato Surprise at luncheons because it looked elegant and colorful. It felt sophisticated while requiring very little cooking. The contrast between the cool tomato and creamy filling made it especially refreshing during warmer months. Yet, as food trends changed, dishes built around presentation and novelty began losing popularity. Modern diners often preferred simpler foods that highlighted natural ingredients rather than hidden fillings. As a result, tomato surprise slowly disappeared from lunch tables. Perhaps one of the strangest lunches to ever become popular was ham and banana hollandaise. During the 1950s, Americans loved experimenting with sweet and savory combinations, and this dish perfectly captured that spirit. Bananas were wrapped in slices of ham, covered with creamy hollandaise sauce, and baked until warm. Believe it or not, many people genuinely enjoyed the unusual combination. Cookbooks and magazines regularly promoted recipes that combined fruit and meat in surprising ways. The dish offered something different and exciting during a time when culinary experimentation was encouraged. But eventually, tastes changed. As diners moved towards simpler flavor combinations and lighter meals, ham and banana hollandaise became one of the strangest casualties of changing food trends. Shrimp wiggle was another lunch that once brought comfort to countless tables. This creamy dish combined shrimp and peas in a rich white sauce that was usually served over toast, rice, or noodles. Throughout the Northeast, it became a favorite because it was filling, affordable, and easy to prepare. The sweetness of the shrimp paired perfectly with the creamy sauce, making it especially popular during cooler months. Restaurants and home cooks alike embraced it for decades. But eventually, seafood dishes began moving toward fresher and lighter preparations. Grilled fish and sautéed shrimp became more fashionable than cream-based sauces. Slowly, shrimp wiggle disappeared from many menus, leaving behind only memories and old recipe cards. One of the more unusual lunches to gain popularity was banana meatloaf. This creative recipe added mashed bananas to traditional meatloaf in order to increase moisture and sweetness. During the 1940s and 50s, food companies encouraged families to experiment with ingredients in new ways. Bananas found themselves appearing in everything from casseroles to meat dishes. Supporters claimed banana meatloaf was tender, flavorful, and surprisingly delicious. Some recipes even recommended serving baked bananas alongside the meat. However, as culinary tastes matured, many people began preferring more traditional savory flavors. The idea of combining fruit with meat slowly lost its appeal, and banana meatloaf eventually faded into obscurity. And finally, there was egg salad in aspic, a lunch that perfectly captures the strange food trends of the mid-20th century. Creamy egg salad was enclosed inside clear, savory gelatin, creating a molded dish that looked impressive on buffet tables and luncheon spreads. During the 1950s, gelatin-based foods were considered modern, elegant, and practical. Hosts loved serving them because they could be prepared ahead of time and displayed beautifully. However, as food trends shifted toward fresh ingredients and simpler presentations, gelatin dishes quickly fell out of favor. Younger generations often viewed them as strange or unappetizing. Today, egg salad in aspic remains one of the clearest reminders of how dramatically American lunches have changed over the decades. Do any of these forgotten lunches bring back memories? Maybe you ate some after school, saw them at your grandparents' house, or spotted them in an old family cookbook. Some may have disappeared, but the memories they created certainly haven't. If you enjoyed this trip back in time, be sure to subscribe and stick around for more nostalgic food stories from America's past.